having fun. We are having fun, yeah? Woo! Oh, it's good to see all of you here. So last month, Dr. Laura gave a fabulous talk, and she issued a directive to us. She said, whatever's coming up in the world that's bugging you, you're feeling any discord, love it. Just pour love on it. And isn't that a great thing to tell us to do? Yeah? I think so. But as I was sitting in my chair and hearing this voice came up and was screaming at me. It said, we are not doing that. We are not loving everything out there that's discordant. N-O. And then the other side of me said, no, wait a minute, Dr. Laura's right. We've got to love everything, no matter what. And that voice said, are you crazy? You can't love everything. That's just wrong, just really wrong. And so I continued to ponder this war inside of myself, and I thought, boy, this would make a great talk, because I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone. So I decided, let's just start from scratch and go to the dictionary. What is love? Because I was thinking, I need to know what love is to be able to build my way to finding love everywhere. So I went to my dictionary, and it said, pretty much, love is about attachment, enjoyment, and affection. So I meditated on that, and I said, affection and enjoyment and attachment to that which I do not like in this world. This is not working. I am not going anywhere with this. Nowhere. Not working at all. Because how can I love atrocities in the world? How can I love harm that is done? I couldn't get there with these definitions. So I knew I needed to go to a different place. I need to go to big love. Big love. Big love to me is spirit. That was where I needed to go to be able to embrace what Dr. Laura's directive was. And I knew, being a spiritual leader with Dr. Laura, I better get my act together and get there. So I did. So I went to all of my favorite spiritual authors and inspirational people to find the answers. So I went to Ernest first. And Ernest says, love is an essence, an atmosphere which defies analysis, as does life itself. It is that which is and cannot be explained. The essence of love, while elusive, pervades everything, fires the heart, stimulates the emotion, renews the soul, and proclaims, there's the answer. I need to just go high and really not know what I'm talking about or what it looks like or what it is and just feel it. Yeah, okay, we're getting somewhere, but I wasn't quite there yet. I was starting to make progress. I was starting to soften up, but I wasn't there yet. And so Ram Dass, who's another favorite of mine, he says this, unconditional love really exists in each of us. It is part of our deep inner being. It is not so much an act of emotion as a state of being. It's not I love you for this or that reason, not I love you if you love me. It's love for no reason, love without an object. So this helped me quite a bit. And one reason why is because, like many of you, love and I have not always gotten along very well. And I've always questioned it, and I've always had an issue with it. Let's just face it, there it is. So in my early years of being in relationships, one would break up and I would go, God, that feeling, when you're not in love anymore and you've got that heartache and all that stuff, it's so icky. And I was asking myself, now wait a minute, why is it that I cannot just feel that love energy without having a person? I thought, there's got to be a way. There has to be a way. And I realized in my early years, the way is to not get so attached to love being one person like Ram Dass says. He's telling us to reach higher into big love because it's inherent in us. It is a natural state of being for all of us. So here I am making a little more progress with Ram Dass, but there was still something missing. Marianne found it for me. She found it for me. Love is what we're born with. Fear is what we learned here. That broke it wide open for me because I realized when I was reacting to Dr. Laura's directive, my fear was getting in the way. That's all it was. My fear was saying, this is a dangerous world. You cannot love everything. That fear was telling me you can't love everything because you need to be on the defensive because something could hurt you out there. That fear was what was keeping me out of alignment with big love. And fear is a tricky thing, right? It's there to protect us. It really is. It's something that we've had with us forever that's kept us out of danger. It's kept us from not being eaten by the tiger, as we say. But here we are in this time and space where we don't need to be afraid like that anymore. We don't have tigers chasing us around. Sure, there's things in life that are coming up that we see in our world. But when we plug into the fear, we're hurting ourselves and we're not in love anymore. And when we're not in the energy of love, not only is it harmful to ourselves, it's harmful to the world because we're closing down and we're putting out energy that is constrictive, that is scary, and we're just feeding the collective energy of our planet in a way where we don't want to see the result of that. We want to see the result of love. Adyashanti, who's another favorite of mine, brought it even more clear to me in this quote. He says, true love has nothing to do with liking someone, agreeing with him or her, or being compatible, right? That's a lot in our world right now. And I know for me, I have a tendency, if someone disagrees with me, I shut the love valve off. And we shouldn't be doing that. We should acknowledge everybody for who they are, for their opinions of stuff. We don't have to agree, but we don't need to hate. That's the thing. We don't need to hate because we're not compatible with somebody. We just say, okay, that's the way you think, I disagree, and so it is. It's when our energy gets all wrapped up in not being in agreement or compatible that we lose that vibrancy that love gives to us. He continues to say this, it is a love of unity, oneness, right? A love of seeing God wearing all the masks and recognizing itself in them all, which is why we talk about the religions. God is in all of us, different ways it shows up, different ways. But we've got to recognize that and not shut the love off because the way somebody is showing up as God is disagreeable to us. We've got to go beyond that. That is our work. Go beyond the way that we've set up our consciousness to be restrictive of love to heap people who are not in alignment with who we are. This room is a special place. There's a lot of alignment going on in here. There's a lot of love. There's a lot of agreement about what spirit is to us. But when we leave this building, we don't see it so much, do we? There's people who have different faith traditions, people who might be angry, people who are having a different way of being in this world. And sometimes we have a tendency to say, well, they're not the people in this sanctuary, so I don't know if I can love. I don't know if I can love. Well, I've changed my mind about that since I've gone on this journey this week. We can love because we are all spirit, and we must honor the dignity of that truth in all beings if we're going to create any kind of peace inside of ourselves and outside. Because it's one thing. It's not in and out separate. It's one thing. When we come into deeper love with ourselves, we're going to start seeing it out there. That's my knowing. So he goes on to say, with this love, you can feel the walls of opposition come down naturally in the acknowledgement of deep connection. And I love to see, I don't like to see natural disasters, but what I like to see when that happens is that people drop their political parties, they drop what gender they are, and they help each other. They help each other. The walls come tumbling down because they see the commonality of the human. And they don't need to look through these lenses that keep us separate. They can see there's a human being suffering, I must help. That's what we should be doing every single day, because I know we all need a little help every now and then. He finishes by saying, not only do the walls of opposition fall, but love is felt for every human being and for life itself. I know it's not easy to get here. I totally get it. I just told you what I went through. But it's so good for us to know our destination with our hearts. We teach that we are changing lives one heart at a time, and it starts with us. It starts with us. It's not about us changing other people. This is what needs to change first and foremost. And so when we can see our heart, and see the love that is there, we can see it in other people. So the work does start inside of ourselves. Also, this is such an important thought, and this is from Thich Nhat Hanh. Understanding is love's other way. Or other name. We don't know the whole story of people. We don't know the whole story about anything that we see in our world, but boy, are we quick to judge it all, aren't we? We're quick to say, that is wrong, they're terrible, why did they do that, they're bad people, blah, 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 blah. And what I've come to know about things we might be labeling as evil or wrong is there is hurt that happened that creates it. There is hurt, there is trauma, there is a broken heart. And if somebody doesn't have the spiritual skills or just the life skills to move through it and heal, you're going to see war. You're going to see things in this world that we don't like. But that's the story. That's the story. So if we could raise our consciousness up and say, you know what? Before I go and judge and hate, I'm going to know I don't know the whole story here. I don't know what that person went through as a kid and now is so harmed that they don't know how to behave in this world and they're just acting out. It's so important to take that step back and realize, before I go there, I don't know what created this. And put the love out there. Isn't it easier to put the love out there when you know that? When you think about that? For me, that's a game changer. When I can stop from hating and judging and just say, whoa, they're a human being. I don't know how they got to that place. My heart opens wide. I am not condoning the behavior. I am not supporting them in their reaction. But I'm holding them in my heart in prayer and praying that they have a revelation inside of themselves that might soften them and heal that wound. M. Scott Peck says this about love. This is how he defines it. I define love thus: the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing your own or another's spiritual growth. Wow, that's different. That's different. I can get behind that love too. Because to me, the way I live my life, it is all about spiritual growth and expansion. And sometimes there's stuff I got to look at, like I had to look at my resistance with Dr. Laura's statement. I had to look at it so that I could heal it, so I could bring my heart back into wholeness, because that's my goal. I want a whole heart. I want to feel love for everybody. So if I get stuck, I got to remember this. I have to remember all these things. I have to remember that as people here in this center, the work we do on ourselves doesn't end here. It goes into our world. It goes into our community. It goes to the people that we interact with every day. That love is contagious. And you don't have to say it out loud. You just got to feel it. And you know how strong the heart is. It radiates energy very far. So that's the work to do, to know that as I love myself, nurture myself and my spiritual growth, I give that to others. So that's an interesting noise. Is that somebody's phone or? All right. It's God saying, this is really important. This is really important. Pay attention. If one will have faith in himself or herself, faith in his or her fellow man, in the universe, and in God, that faith will light the place in which he finds himself. And by the light of his faith, he will be able to see that all is good. And I know a lot of people push back when we say all is good, all is well. We get a lot of, are you kidding me? This is not good. And what I love about Ernest Holmes is he always brings us back to faith, to faith. What we do here is we teach you about that power of spirit that you are. And that is a healing force. It is a healing presence. It is life itself that we all are. Because sometimes we don't learn about these things in our past. I know when I came to the center and I learned, I knew about God from Judaism, but I didn't know about this whole other way that we can see spirit. And so the more we can find that light inside of ourselves of faith and not pay attention and be dragged into the naysayers or the whatever they're called, doomsday people, when we can turn away from that, and also, not that it's just on the outside, but inside of ourselves, we might have some negative beliefs going on about what's possible in the world. We might be thinking that all is not good and I have no faith. Well, I'm here to tell you, borrow mine. Borrow mine, because it's really big. It is. Reverend William, Dr. Laura, Reverend David, soon-to-be practitioner William over here. My faith is so friggin' gigantic. I have plenty for this room and then some. Because I've seen, I can't hide it under a bushel anymore. I do believe this. I believe that we are inherently good. I really do believe that. And when we have faith and that light, that there's something better possible. There's something better that we can be. There's a better way that people can show up in this world. I love to give space for change. Space for change. When we can just do that, we're going to see that good rising up and expressing through all of us. And faith is connected to love. What Ernest Holmes is saying is if you can have a little faith, just have a little, what is it, the mustard seed, that's all it takes. When you have a little faith, things change for the better. And when you have faith, the love channel is opening up. And you can experience what it is to be in the world, to be in yourself, to have whatever's coming up come up, and be able to find love in it all, because love is inside of you. It's right there. And so we just have to do what we do to get there. So I have a quote today by me. Oh, God. Love it. Shameless. Love is living with an uncluttered heart that allows the energy of spirit to radiate from us without interruption. This is not, thank you, you may use it. It's not copyrighted. Having my experience after Dr. Laura's talk really taught me something about the heart and paying attention to it when it's closing down. And I am not about spiritual bypass. This is not telling you you need to be in this state all the time. No way am I going to tell you that. Because life happens, reactions happen, and we have stuff that just needs to bubble up. And that's okay. That's okay. What I want to teach you is when that comes up, when the discord comes up, when the disappointment comes up, when the heartbreak comes up, walk through it, but see your destination as uncluttering that heart of yours. That's all you need to do. Just know, I know it's possible for my heart to come back to being uncluttered. And that's what I did because I knew I could do it, but my mind was so just blocked because I was in fear. So look at the fear if it comes up. No, it's not your natural state of being. You're born in love. You can go back to it. It's more natural than fear. So come back to that love, clear out your heart, and all you need to do is radiate it and share it with the world. So make love your resting energy. Make it your constant as it can be. I'm telling myself this too, by the way, as I read this to you. Make this the energy that is most consistent with you. And when you get thrown off, do your thing, get back into that resting state. Because that's who we are. That's how we change our own lives. And that's how we change the world. It's natural. So with Valentine's Day and this wonderful season of love, I invite you to open up to a bigger love. A love that is beyond just two people or a family. A love that really is hard to define, but this knows exactly what it is. Open up to your love. Open up to your love. And anything that comes up that's not allowing you to feel that, look at it, release it, and let the big love be your constant. Thank you for listening.